It's Hawaii Matters, and I'm your host, Kathy with a K. June 1 through November 30 is hurricane season in Hawaii with the official forecast for 2026. Our guest is John Bravender, warning coordination meteorologist at NOAA National Weather Service, Honolulu Forecast Office. Um, Today is June 2nd, 2026, and when was the forecast released for our islands for 2026?
We put the forecast out end of May, looking for the period from hurricane season. One of the big drivers for the hurricane season outlook is the ocean temperatures in the Pacific, the El Nino Southern Oscillation. And that forecast comes out monthly. So we like to wait to the second Thursday in the month to get that forecast. And then we did the season outlook on the third Thursday.
What can you share for our islands? What can we look forward to?
The NOAA forecast is for an above normal hurricane season for the Central Pacific. Numbers wise, they're going 5 to 13 tropical cyclones, which is a large range and also a very large number. An average year for us in the Central Pacific is about 4 to 5 tropical cyclones. So having a range from 5 to 13 raises some eyebrows. It's a large range, and also top end 13 is a pretty large number. We've only had one year that's had more tropical cyclones than that. That was 2015.
Is NOAA having that wider, higher end range to just kind of hedge caution to keep residents and businesses, everyone in the Pacific, aware? Or it's just like that's how the numbers are shaking out? Both.
One of the big sources of uncertainty in the season outlook is how quickly the warm El Nino weather pattern will develop. During El Nino hurricane seasons, waters in the Pacific are warmer than normal, and we tend to see more tropical cyclones form. We also, in addition to warmer waters, we tend to see less wind shear, weaker trade winds, more humidity, all that contribute to more tropical cyclone activity. And the big wild card is very confident that El Nino is developing, and so it looks like it could be a significant one. But it's a question of how fast it develops going into our hurricane season, and will it be strong in place during our summertime hurricane season, or will it be delayed more and impact us more directly during our next wet season this coming winter? So with that uncertainty as to how quickly it develops, we end up with, okay, we could be above normal activity or really above normal if it gets going really fast and ends up as strong as it could be.
Because of AI has been very helpful in so many industries. Um, for the National Weather Service, the Honolulu Forecast Office, everyone who issues a forecast is a human, and they are also certified meteorologists. These are individuals that understand um, all of the science and the research, and they issue it with their name on it. Can you talk about the persons on staff who create the forecast models and create the forecast? Because I really want people to understand there are real people who take this so seriously, and when there is an advisory or watch or even a warning or something expires, you take it to heart because you have families, you live here in the islands, and don't want to cause a panic. We just want awareness and alertness to be shared.
Our office is located on Oahu. We're actually located on the University of Hawaii campus, one floor below the atmospheric science department. And a lot of our forecasters are alumni from UH. Everybody on staff, we all have degrees in meteorology or atmospheric science. We have anywhere from, I would say, from 4 years to 30 plus years of experience. we have quite a wide range of ages in the staff, and there's 4 people in our office working 24/7. So we're staffed 24 hours a day. We work rotating shifts to cover it, and we always have 4 people on in the office looking at different parts of the island, whether we're forecasting for Hawaii itself or for the high seas or for aviation across the Pacific. There's a wide range of responsibility. And living here in Hawaii, where we're forecasting, it really drives home the weather that we see, because we're also impacted by it. The flooding in March, we had employees whose houses were flooded as well. We're left to clean up and try to recover from that. And it's a balance that is we all take to heart. We want people to be prepared. We want people to be ready, but we want people to be able to trust us when we put out those warnings. We don't want to overwarn. We don't want to cry wolf. And there are situations where it can be very difficult. There's really high uncertainty in some of our weather patterns. We're a very small island out in the middle of the ocean. It's hard to know what's happening around us. We're trying to infer from satellite what might be coming. It can be challenging, but we're here. Our staff is very committed. You have to be committed to decide to work in a job where you work a rotating shift, not just shift work, but rotating shift work. It's the people in our office are very passionate and very concerned about protecting Hawaii and getting our residents safe for weather patterns that come up.
A reminder each season of hurricane season, June 1 through November 30, when it begins a watch, and it may accelerate as far as the different levels of advisory. There's a very small step up and step down between a hurricane category 1, and if the wind speed drops, it could become a tropical storm. And I've lived through different advisories and warnings where it's a tropical storm and it's a hurricane, then it drops back down. And, just amongst people, water cooler talk is just like, they're just trying to brush it off. And it's like, as I got older and paid more attention and read more at the weather forecast, I'm not a meteorologist. She's like, I'm not a doctor, but getting an understanding of what a watch, advisory, warning, and all those kinds of things mean.
First, I'd like to talk about what you brought up as far as tropical storm versus hurricane. For the season outlook, I use the term tropical cyclone, which is generic. It captures everything from a tropical depression, where winds are less than 40 miles an hour. A tropical storm has winds 40 to 73 miles an hour, hurricane 74 miles an hour or greater. And this came up back in 2018 with, at the time, it was Hurricane Olivia approaching from the northeast. It eventually made landfall in West Maui as a tropical storm. But as it was approaching, Hurricane Olivia, and then it weakened a little bit, and it was tropical storm. And we were doing an interview, and someone says, "Oh, so it's a tropical storm now. We don't have to worry."
Mm-hmm.
And like, no, hold on. The wind speed went from 75 miles an hour to 70 miles an hour, and it was very, very illuminating what a difference the name makes. When that 5 an hour difference, that's insignificant. That's you're still going to have very similar damage, 70, 75 miles an hour, but that's the threshold we have to find. So that's where communication can be a challenge as far as what we expect, what to prepare for. And we've seen a lot this past winter. In addition to the flooding, we had a lot of wind damage from some strong Kona winds that were maybe 40, 50 miles an hour, 60 mile an hour wind gusts that caused a lot of damage. Like, this is a tropical storm. This is what could happen. Imagine this level of wind damage from this with a hurricane or a major hurricane. That's what it's hard to visualize, that strong of a wind. People think, I've been through a tropical storm. Like, no, you went through some heavy rain. That's not an actual tropical storm. That's definitely not a hurricane.
I guess for yourself, because you've been with the National Weather Service, Honolulu Forecast Office for many seasons, do you and your family ever relax into it? Or is it always, we need to keep with this routine because there's nothing routine about a weather system that 24 hours ago it was cool. And then a day later, it's like, wow, we really have to um, all hands on deck.
From a personal standpoint, my family is, I think, more vulnerable than most others. My wife and I live on a sailboat in Hawaii Harbor, or one of the few legal liveaboards left. So moving here, living aboard, we need a hurricane. So going into this, we had a very well established hurricane preparedness plan that we have to revisit every year. Originally, our plan was my wife would go to her office, I would be at work here, and then we'd meet up afterwards. That's what we did during Lane back in 2018. She doesn't have that office anymore. So, okay, well, we're going to stay with these friends in this other part of the island. Okay, make sure they're involved. They know we're coming. Okay, this is good. Hey, they had a kid. How does that change the plan? This is something that we have to keep revisiting every hurricane season. And we use hurricane season as that trigger for when to start this. But the emergency plan is good throughout the year. There, power outages or water issues during winter storms or the tsunami that we had last year. That those are all things that can happen throughout the year. So having a preparedness plan, having a communications plan, update those frequently, but have them available year round because you never know when disaster could strike.
Where can folks learn about Hawaii's weather, terminology, and why a weather forecast is an educated guess that adjusts over time?
The best source for weather information would be from the National Weather Service. We weather.gov/Hawaii is our website. You can get forecasts for across the state. We also every twice a day with twice a day updates, we'll do a forecast discussion that explains what goes into that forecast. It's not just here's what we're expecting today. It gives some of the reasoning behind it and also tries to dig into some of the uncertainty. And that's one thing, especially as we go into hurricane season, that when we do a hurricane forecast, those are updated every 6 hours. There'll be a new forecast, a new track graphic, new wind speed probabilities, new information every 6 hours because that information changes. The storm might evolve differently than we were expecting. It might take a different track. You have to stay up to date with that latest information because weather is very volatile, very changing. And especially here in the tropics, it can be changed very fast and it can be very uncertain in some of the weather patterns that we have. So staying up to date with the latest forecast is very important. And also being able to stay up to date with the latest information for what impacts are happening. My office will put out flash flood warnings, and you might get information from county emergency managers as far as what roads are closed or where shelters might be opened and where to find more information. So, in addition to the weather forecast from the National Weather Service, make sure you follow your local emergency management office for more information about the impacts that are happening.
For so many, we have smart devices, laptops, tablets. We can sign up for HNL, alert.gov, and just do the notifications. There are a few that really want to be off the grid. Is there a phone number or is a weather radio?
Yeah, we have a automated phone number that updated forecast for different sources to weather information beyond a computer or tablet or mobile device. We still have an old school recorded phone system. Each of the counties, we maintain a system that has a county focus for calling in and getting a local forecast, whether it's for the land, for the marine, for surf, for current conditions. So you can dial in, listen to that. Even better during as a resource post disaster, if communications are down, radio, whether it's broadcast radio, AM or FM, or more specifically, NOAA weather radio. This is a FM radio that we run 24 hours a day. It's a continuous broadcast of weather information, forecasts, observations, warnings. And the key feature is that there's an emergency alert option that if we put out a flash flood warning or a tsunami warning, that radio can be set to wake you up in the middle of the night so you don't sleep through it. So you get that notification right away, even if the radio is turned off. And there's plenty of options as far as battery backup, even some that are hand cranked, have a built-in flashlight. Good to have as tools for post-disaster as we're trying to recover from something that happens.
I have one in my studio, and I was I'm just like, but I'm they're not my sponsor, but I picked one up during the Kona lows, and it came in very handy, and it also, yeah, and it's blinking because it has a weather, it's set for the weather alert. But 2026, I finally got one, you know.
So the last time I was visited my mom, she lives in Michigan, and I set her up, and she actually has two. She made a comment about getting woken up in the middle of the night by something, and I said, you know what, or not woken up. She had a radio down in her kitchen, and I was like, you know what, let's get a second one. We'll put it in your bedroom, and we changed what the alert's for, so she doesn't need to be alerted for a severe thunderstorm watch. Like, hey, something might happen. There's no reason to wake you up for that. But if there's a warning that comes out, okay, we'll set that up. So she has two radios, but they're configured differently to meet the different needs of what she might need to know if she's awake downstairs versus what might happen if she's asleep at night.
Thank you, John Bravender, Warning Coordination Meteorologist, National Weather Service, Honolulu office. To share or replay this episode, please search Hawaii Matters where you listen to podcasts. And I'll also have information within the blog hyperlinks so you can, and that phone number for each of our counties for Hawaii. For Pacific Media Group, my name's Kathy with a K. Mahalo.